Hey there, Drew here, and welcome back to the Drew Saur coaching channel. If this is your first time here, thanks for joining us. This channel is for those of us who want to have stellar careers with a little less stress and, if we can, a bit more fun. My job is to bring you ideas that'll help you look at your career in a new way. I promise that if you try these out, you'll start to see the professional world differently. And more importantly, they'll start to see you differently. So this video is part of my series on persuasive storytelling. Because to get anything done in the workplace, you need other people. And so the question we're trying to answer here is, can I convince others to join me? What I want to talk about today is one of the sort of first and sometimes most difficult steps in how you influence others. And the challenge I see often when I work with clients on this type of issue is we get too much in our own heads. We've spent so much time with the project, with the issue, that we know all these details, and it's very hard to step aside and start from scratch. And what I mean by that is, when you're trying to influence somebody, you can't start with what you believe is the right answer. It's not about where you want them to be, it's about where they are today. And oftentimes, they have a much different perspective on the issue, the project, etc. They may not even be aware of it. And so while you know it's very important, what I want to do is introduce you to this idea of the beginner's mind. Right? This idea, which if you've ever studied meditation or martial arts, is make no assumptions. Right? You start with a blank slate. So even though you know this is really urgent, this is really important issue, this is really a great project idea, it'll save you millions of dollars, even though you know all these things, when you're trying to influence somebody, you start with a blank slate. So you don't say, this is clearly important. What arguments am I going to use to convince you that it's important? You're going to say, okay, blank slate, is this important to my target audience? Because again, importance is not a yes/no, right? Importance is in context of everything else going on. And oftentimes, you don't know what else is going on. This is particularly true if you're trying to influence your boss or another senior executive where you may not even have visibility to everything on their plate. So the question isn't, again, I know it's important, how do I convince you? The question is, what would make this important to you, to my audience? And you start from scratch. So that's the core message of today, all right? A very simple idea, but oftentimes very hard to do because we are so invested in the time and energy we've spent figuring out why this thing is what it is, why it needs to get done, that it can be very difficult to step back and say, okay, when I'm going to influence, I've got to put all that stuff aside, at least for a little bit, and figure out, okay, where is my audience? Where is my target individual today? Because one of the most important ideas in here is the negative idea. Meaning if they don't like it. And the reason I bring that up is because if you're lukewarm, if you're like not even sure, you don't have an opinion, I give you some positive reasons, I can convince you. You'll sort of slowly move over to the positive if they're good reasons and they resonate with you. If they are negative reasons, meaning I think this is a bad idea, I don't want to do this, and you give me positive reasons why it's such a great thing, the natural human reaction is to double down, right? No, it's a bad idea. I know you're saying it's a good idea, but I'm going to get defensive because it's clearly a bad idea because I've already made up my mind. If somebody has a negative opinion of your project, a negative opinion of this issue, this is not important, it doesn't need to be dealt with, rather than convincing them the positive thing, the first thing you need to do is undo the negatives. So again, beginner's mind. My assumption is, I don't know, I find out, you are apparently against this project. You don't think it's a good idea. So why don't you think it's a good idea? Too expensive. Right? Too risky. Whatever the case may be, I need to do a little homework, figure out why you think it's a negative idea. And then before I sell you on the merits, I actually need to undo that negative. So too expensive? Well, what can I give you in context? How can I show you that the ROI is there? How can I deal with your concerns before I come in with all the positives? Right? And a lot of times that's what happens, right? We have this really clear image of our mind on why this is such a good idea, why this should be obvious. I don't understand this, I get this a lot, right? I don't understand why they don't get this. Well, if you don't understand why they don't get this, that's a great signal that you need to go back. Beginner's mind. Assume nothing. Why might they not get it? What don't they know, right? What negative ideas might they have that need to be addressed before they can go to the positive side? So that's the idea. Again, anytime you're having trouble convincing somebody and influencing somebody, come back to this beginner's mind. Take all of the stuff that you know and put it aside and try to understand where they are today and build from there. So what happens if you don't do this? Well, I've already mentioned a little bit is the chances that they will get defensive, right? They will see your sort of strong arguments and they'll be like, yeah, we've heard this all before, but you're not addressing what I need to hear to be influenced, right? You're giving me all the reasons that would convince you, right? You're obviously giving reasons that you think are real reasons, but chances are they're driven based on what you want, not what they want. So again, if you're having trouble influencing somebody, it's the beginner's mind. So what's the exercise? Try it out. Find somebody who you have a little more difficulty influencing and go back to basics. Scrap it all, blank slate, beginner's mind. Where is this person? What is important to them? What are the concerns they have? And build up your argument from the bottom until it's very customized to where that individual is. Core idea, start where they are, not where you wish they would be. So try it out. This one's a little more nuanced, and happy to provide any feedback if it's helpful. Let me know in the comments how it goes. And as always, if you're interested in working on this at a more in-depth level, if you're looking to accelerate your career, it helps to have a partner. And you can hire a friend, or you can hire a coach. If you're interested in working with me, feel free to go to drewsaur.com, schedule some time for us to chat. I look forward to seeing you next time.